Eternal MMA Insiders, episode 3. Today I'm joined by Cam O'Neill, as always, and Callan Potter. Welcome, Callan. Here we are. So,
Cheers, mate.
First of all, mate, thanks for joining us. How are we coping with all this madness in the world and the COVID-19 situation? Give us a little insight into how it's been for you.
Yeah, so obviously it's a bit of a change up in a regular schedule, but these sort of episodes in life, obviously there's not much precedent when it comes to this sort of thing, but these sort of episodes in life, it's all about mind frame. So as much as I'm very upset that I can't get to train and coach and do all the things I usually get to do, I get to spend a great lot of time with my family, especially my daughters. You know, I'm a full-time dad at the moment, so lots of cooking and cleaning and looking after the little ones, and I'm enjoying that immensely. So as much as it's very sad that I don't get to live my regular life, I do get to live a different life at the moment, and I'm making the most of that.
Yeah. Good on you. Do you think it's changed any of your values around about work-life balance? You know, just having this extra time at home?
Yeah, 100%. I was chatting to a friend yesterday and saying the similar sort of thing. You know, I think a lot of people are going to reevaluate how they live their lives. You know what I mean? As much as it's a very general concept to try and to gather as much onto yourself as you can as far as wealth comes. I think a lot of people are going to see, a change in dollars of their importance. You know what I mean? You're going to start to see that as much as you do need to gather enough to live a level of life, your importance might lead a little bit more towards relationships and how you maintain, which is probably a bit better of a way to live. Yeah,
without a doubt. Good on you, mate.
Yeah. So, have you actually been in contact with UFC during this time? Have they spoken to you in any way about the schedule and what's going to be happening? And have you been privy to any? I know there were some calls that went, some group fighter calls the other day, and anything that you can pass on, or were you involved in any of those?
Yeah, so I was involved in one of the group. Yeah, they did do a bit of group call, or just give us around what they're looking to do with the schedule. I was on one of them. I was very non-chatty. A few people sent through some questions and that. It was just filling us in on the upcomings and what's going on, and you know what I mean. I obviously there's going to be a lot of difference of opinions, especially with the event going on tomorrow. But I'd like to say that the way the Dana and the corporation have gone about it has been sensational. You know what I mean? They put fighter safety number one, which is always which no matter what you're dealing with, whether it's a virus or just general health, it always should be your main concern. And other than that, just trying to keep people's lives moving on, which is sensational. And, the meeting was great. Just give us a full rundown of what they're looking at doing and a little bit of a chat about Fight Island. But it was really good to listen to.
No, that's good. That's good that we got you all involved. And, I mean, today's obviously, it's the 9th of May. This show won't be getting aired for just over a week, for 8 days yet. But with the news coming out today that Jack Ray tested positive for COVID-19, it shows you how close to home it actually is for you guys, especially with the proximity that you as athletes will be putting yourselves in contact with other people, and how easy it possibly could spread quite virally.
Two of his cornermen tested positive as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it's actually a victory for the testing process and the protocols that they're following, that people can test positive. Obviously, the right steps have been taken and they've been segregated from everyone else. Everyone else has been tested, so that means that they can withdraw him from the event, and then it hasn't jeopardized the whole event, from what I understand to this point.
Yeah.
So, I'm with you, Callan. I think Dana, people are criticizing him, but at the end of the day, and I know, and I'm not taking. I don't want people to think that I don't care for those that have been affected by this, because I do. I care about every person who suffered from this. It's important to them, and I understand that. But for the most part, and the industry we work in, we're going to be the least vulnerable people, and I think it's important for us to try and get back to some sense of normality. And this is, for us, this is our job. Some people are still working, and this is a job. It's just because some people see it as a hobby, or that this is your job, right? This is how you make a living. So it's important for you to get back to work as quickly as you can, especially in an industry as niche as fighting, where you might only work 3 times a year, or not even that. So I feel that we need to get back to normal in a safe and practical way where possible. So I'm team UFC on this one, and I don't know about you, but not having seen any live sport for 2 months. Mate, I'm so excited for tomorrow.
Yeah, I know it's Mother's Day tomorrow, which is a little bit of a gamble, but I've got all my stuff sorted for the missus in the morning. Going to get her treated, got the cake baked, and a card made up by the kids. I'm going to decorate it, but I'm going to make sure I try to tick as many boxes before about midday as I can.
Is this the most prepared you have ever been pre-Mother's Day?
Oh, more prepared than I've been. I've had a little bit more time on my hands, which is nice, but just to make sure I can get that thing, because I'd tell you what, I'd watch two cockroaches punch on at the moment if they aired it live on ESPN. Let me tell you. So to have a full card on tomorrow, I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's a good card as well. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, same as you. Like I put my chit in on Wednesday, forgetting that it was Mother's Day. I had sorted out a present and stuff like that, but I was like, I just need to let you know that I need a couple of hours on Sunday to watch at least. And Nat was like, why are you asking me? I said, well, normally I wouldn't watch the UFC on a Sunday because it's a family day and stuff like that, but I haven't seen any live sport for 2 months, so I just want you to understand that it would be really good if I could watch this show. And then she went, yeah, it's fine, no problem. Oh, it's Mother's Day. And I was like, yeah, it's okay, I won't watch it. And then she's good as gold. She was like, no, you can watch it. So same as you, Bobby was writing up on the card earlier, and yeah, we've got the presents all sorted out and stuff. So yeah, the pass has been signed off.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sitting in isolation. I'm sitting in isolation in tropical Queensland, so I'll just put my feet up and watch it at my leisure tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
I think
no accountability.
Hence why I was on the phone to Telstra why we're an hour late now doing this podcast is I've got no internet in my house, so I'm not quite sure how I'm going to watch it yet. I might have to watch it on the laptop, which will fucking break me if I'm honest, but I'll take it. That's all I can get.
Maybe if we say good things about Telstra, we might get a Telstra sponsorship. Not much with it. I'd have to reach out. They seem to not like you very much.
Mate, I've got a Telstra sponsorship. They've given me about $3,000 in the last couple of years in compensation.
Yeah, but no service.
Oh, it's just yeah. I would never say a good word about them. I've got nothing.
Stuff the sponsorship, just slag them.
Yeah, I'll go with Opt. I ain't got nothing good to say about Telstra. Before we hit into what we're going to do is Cam and I are going to have a competition throughout the rest of the year for picks on UFC. We'll do the top 4 fights and then we'll tally up what we've done each week and blah blah.
I'm just finding out about this as you're finding out about it, Callan. This is a Ben Vickers special.
I just thought about it now. That's what we're going to do. Right? This is Eternal's preparation at its finest, mate. This is how things happen on Eternal. I have an idea. I'll tell them how we're going to do it, and on we go.
The doors are open in 10 minutes.
but so we'll also get your picks as well at the end of today, and then when obviously after tomorrow we'll publish the who knows what they're talking about and who doesn't. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about Eternal and your history with the promotion. So obviously, for those that are fans of Eternal, they'll be very familiar with you. But you are an Eternal MMA champion. You never lost your title in the cage. You vacated your title when you received your contract for the UFC. So talk to us a little bit about your life on Eternal and what experiences you've had with the show, and good, bad, ugly, whatever you like. No censorship, just fire away, mate, and give everyone a little insight into your Eternal time.
Beautiful. So I can actually very vividly remember my start with Eternal. So when I made the move down to lightweight, midway through my MMA career to have a really good crack at this. And I remember at the stage I had my first lightweight win was against a very tough New Zealander. And then I decided that, I wanted to make a play straight away for some of the tougher guys. And I made a sort of list of 2 or 3 of the toughest guys getting around at that time in Australia. And on that list was Isaac Tisdale, who was the current Eternal lightweight champion. So I sent some messages around, and Cam returned the message and expressed that he was keen on the match. He was going to get back to me. And then I like to tell people this story. I received a call from Cam when I was driving in my car to the gym. So I had Cam on loudspeaker while I'm driving, and my ears were completely blocked up with water or wax. I can't remember what it was. So I could only hear about every third word he was saying. We were trying to negotiate my fight contract for the upcoming Eternal bout. I'm like, Cam, I'm going to have to give you a call back. So it was a little bit more difficult than I thought. So we called back, and we were able to sort out the fight. And we got the fight with Isaac, who's at the time was definitely one of the top 1 or 2 lightweights in Australia. You know, super tough guy coming off a lot of knockouts. We had a really good night that night. You know what I mean? It was one of those nights, as I expressed to him in the cage, where it was a very even matchup and things went my way that night. You know, I was able to pull the trigger at the right time, and we got the win, which was sensational.
I have one defining memory of that, other than the fight itself, which was fucking no one. Well, I'll say no one. I didn't picture you putting Isaac Tisdale on his ass standing. I pictured you probably submitting him if you were going to win. That was the way I saw it going down, but not the way it happened, which was phenomenal in itself. But what my enduring memory of that is, we were staying at the Hinterland Hotel, and the weigh-ins were set up downstairs. And I just remember you walking in, and I didn't fucking recognise you. And I was like, who the fuck is this crackhead? He must be lost. I was like, oh my God, it's Callan. Because you wouldn't be it wouldn't be unprecedented to see a crackhead just walk into the Hinterland Hotel. Like, I was like, well, I'm going to have to throw this bloke out. I'm glad I didn't. I probably would have found myself in a lot of trouble. But I've never, like, I know you did great things at 70, but only because, you know, I have deep feelings for Callan. I think that's well known. My wife, I'll tell the story of my wife's hatred for my feelings for Callan later. But yeah, I just didn't like seeing you like that. You were unrecognisable to me at that weight. And the fact that you could bounce back the next day and perform how you did, and take the damage that you could take at that weight class too, is pretty phenomenal to me.
Yeah, look, you're spot on. Everything you're saying is spot on. You know, and the scary thing is that cut to Isaac, out of all my cuts at 70, was probably the easiest. Still wasn't. They were never easy, but compared to all the others, that was one of the easier ones. That's still how I look after that. So they weren't ideal, and you know, I'm a bit worried that maybe later on in my life I'm going to receive a bill. But for what the cause and effect was at the time, it definitely got done what I needed to get done. It got my name out there and got me competing to the level that I wanted to compete at, which was really nice.
Yeah, well, look, and it was a great fight. It was over very quickly, but you know, it was a good fight. Isaac's previous 5 fights, I think, had ran to a grand total of 7.5 minutes. You know, his previous 5 fights, a 9-second knockout and a 14-second knockout, and we all know his fighting style. And he came out like that straight from the get-go against you as well, spinning, kicking, punching, throwing everything. The composure and you know, how calm you remained, just waiting for the right time to strike back was it was excellent. It was obviously a well thought out game plan. Composure was obviously going to be, and patience was obviously going to be a big part of it. And it was a fantastic win in front of what would have been a very partisan crowd.
Very true.
I think your back-to-back fights there against Isaac and then backing it up against Brenton, you probably had the best part of 600 or 700 people barracking against you over the 2 fights. You know, it was you definitely weren't coming up as the favourite. You know, and that was
the Isaac one was bad. The Brenton one was completely different level. You know, and I've always joked that I enjoy going to a foreign place and taking on the local hero. I remember with the Brenton fight, I need to go to the bar. I was out the back, and obviously we were main events, so we were waiting a while, and I had to go to the bathroom, and there's a bathroom backstage. I'm sure you guys will be aware which one that is, right next to the dressing rooms. And I went to go in there, but it was used, so I thought I'll just go to the other one. And I walked through the crowd, and I must have seen at least 30 Brenton Mumford t-shirts. I U-turned and went back and said, "I'll just wait." I thought I might not make it back if I go there, I reckon.
Oh, we had Jack Jenkins on last week, and he was talking about after he beat Diego, he went to the bar to buy a beer, And obviously there's a lot of Diego fans in the crowd, but they were quite the opposite. I mean, you win people's respect. And what I think about Eternal fans as well is that they understand the sport. They're real, like, true fans of the sport. Because
100%.
A lot of them are training in the gyms that the people are fighting out of and linked to the fighters and stuff like that. So we don't tend to get, there's the cheering for your guy and a bit of booing and stuff like that. But that's generally where it stops. It doesn't progress out of the cage where it's a vendetta and a hatred towards someone else, which you do get, and I have seen before and been a part of myself on the receiving end in the UK, which I spoke about last week with Jack as well. But I don't think that you get that. So I think that they respect the fighter and the jobs that you're there to do, and the fact that you're providing their hero with an opponent.
Yeah, but everything you said spot on. Like, I'm obviously talking to the two heads of the company, but I've never had a negative experience with an Eternal show. You know what I mean? The crowds are sensational. The way you guys run it is sensational. I like the funny story. Like I said, as you said, there's no censorship here. So I love this story. When obviously after the second fight with Brenton, we caught up for drinks the very next day, and we started talking about that same night there was an incident in the crowd, which is very unusual for an Eternal show. So we brought it up, and he told me that was one of the 17 tables he sold. Oh well,
yes,
was
that? Yes, I remember that now. I was thinking,
Kyle,
I remember that one. Yes.
And I queried him about it. I said, "Oh, who was it? Some bogan?" And he goes, "Mate," he goes, "That guy, the guy that got kicked out, is the leading hand or face surgeon, one of the leading surgeon in Australia."
Yeah, he's like top 5. And
yeah. He's the bloke. Yeah. Did he punch on with Kyle Noak's brother?
No, he was trying to go the knuckle with the note. But I ended up in court, over that as well, like giving evidence about what went on, and then, and look, I can give you a funny end to that story. So that dragged on for a long time. Everybody wanted footage of it. The police wanted footage, the courts wanted footage. Because of the job that guy done, he was going to be unable to continue doing it because of injuries that he sustained.
Oh, because of criminal case, yeah.
So obviously his loss of earnings was massive, and he was looking to try and get some compensation out of it. So this dragged on for a long time, and of course none of the parties were happy, and it went away for about a year and a half, and then just before Eternal 52, maybe around about January or February, Kyle had nominated some novices, some new kids that were coming through in the gym that he wanted to match up in Eternal 52. And Brenton had nominated a few novices that he wanted matched up on Eternal 52. Got nothing of it. Put two of them together that looked as if it was a good match, which turned out to be a cracker match. Yeah. Kyle was not sure if this kid's in yet. I'm going to have a think about it, blah, blah, blah. Turns out the kid that Brenton had nominated was the son of the dad who was a surgeon. So as soon as we fed that forward, Kyle was like, he's in, match the fight. So we made that fight, and it was a cracking fight. The boy went up and apologised to the Oaks at the end of it. Everybody shook hands.
Oh, what a game.
So it's a good ending to the story. It really was. We like it. He was only 18.
We like a happy ending at Eternal. I don't read that the wrong way either, you dirty bastard.
But it was just so great. So to play on from the story, my second title was against Brenton Mumford, obviously, we were just discussing, and again a very good night for me against an extremely dangerous opponent. And as far as the fight went very well, and I was very lucky to get away without copping a spinning heel kick to the face. One of the best parts of that whole procedure of fighting was Brenton and I, the very next day, we obviously didn't fly out till later the next day. We caught up and sat at a pub for what was only supposed to be an hour turned into about 5. And what was only supposed to be a couple of lemonades turned into a whole abundance of everything else. And it just shows, you know what I mean? People have a very stereotypical view of what this sport is, even at this level. And it couldn't be anything different. Him and I sat there and talked about game plans we had prepping for each other and this and that and the sport and everything. And we'd grown up together, you know what I mean? And that was one of my more enjoyable memories that I'll ever have in this sport.
Brilliant.
Yeah, no, look, it was another fight between, two of the very top at that time, and you proved it, two of the very top lightweights in Australia at that time, that treat each other as professionals and as sportsmen.
Spot on. Yeah, spot on. And I there's so many memories I had from that fight. You know, I mean, there was a guy came to the cage and started abusing me for a little bit, and I found out later that was Brenton's brother. I think Brenton gave him a clip in the ear, and then I'm like, oh well, we better go home then. And as I'm walking out, another gentleman came up to me and said he had Brenton Mumford shirt on. He shook my hand and said, "Mate, great fight. You did really well." I said, "Oh, thank you very much, mate." And I found out next day when Brenton and I was talking, that was Brenton's father.
Yeah,
he came up and shook my hand and congratulated me.
He's a lovely man, Brenton's dad.
Yeah, he was a lovely guy.
Well, and then we take it on to your third fight.
Yeah, not much happened there. That was a pretty
cool.
Story in itself, just getting you there, and that was, I'm assuming that was the BJ fight, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I remember we had a show in Adelaide. Was it Adelaide, Camp, or Melbourne? I think it was Adelaide, and I landed in Adelaide, and my phone was just like,
yeah, it was Adelaide,
blowing up. My phone had just gone. I'd been on the plane for 2 3/4 hours, and my phone had just gone mental. So I got into the terminal. I started listening to all these messages, reading through everything. And
that's right.
Turned out the Power Play show in Melbourne had cancelled, which was due for the same weekend, the day before the Eternal show, which was was it 2 weeks out or something like that? It wasn't far away. And people were clamoring to try and get on the show. And then you called me and said, I really need this. Because the UFC was booked for Melbourne.
Yeah, the UFC was booked for Melbourne, though. So that was December, and they were booked for February.
And you, so you were desperate to get that fight over the line, obviously, with a view to sitting on the hot seat on the UFC. So I said I'll do what I can, and me and Cam spoke. And to be perfectly frank, and I'll be honest about it, if it was anyone else, I probably wouldn't have done it. And that is just the truth, because.
Well, there was possibly other fights that were asking for the same thing, and they didn't get the treatment. So,
yeah, I mean, yourself and BJ, two consummate professionals who deserved to get their shot, and you were both at the top end of the food chain, really. And to put a fight on that short notice in a city where neither of you came from, it was only going to cost us money. And to be fair, you and BJ fought for peanuts, and some amateurs could, and some of the lower level pros in the game could learn a lot from that, to say, look, how much do you want it? Because you were prepared to fight for way less than you were worth to get to where you wanted to get to. And that's what people don't see. And Jack last week alluded to that. You're not going to make, people think they're going to make a fortune fighting at domestic level, and you're not. So you have to be smart. And that was why you and BJ, you never even asked really about money. It was more about, can we get the opportunity, and then we'll worry about finances later on. So that was the backstory to that. It was a bit of I think there was 2 weeks to change the venue and get you all across, and get you and BJ across. And we ended up picking up Carlos Ulberg and John Martin Fraser from that as well. But,
yeah.
I'll just hand it back over to you so people know the backstory to the big.
That was a perfect explanation. Yeah, we knew the UFC was coming up, and I was actually I had the big win streak, and then actually coming off a loss to Marcin Held, and I knew I needed to get, if I was any chance to have a look in for a show on the UFC, I need to get back in the win column. So I needed a fight before then, and so we had that all booked. And when that fell through, I was very devastated, and I knew there was going to be a lot of people clamoring towards you guys. And as I've expressed a million times before, and I'll say a million times again, I couldn't be more thankful to you guys for facilitating it, because it's set me up for where I am now, and it was sensational. So the great thing was we were able to get that match to come through, and look, the prep for that fight, and nothing I say in the next 5 minutes is anything taken away from BJ. What made that fight so great and so close and so tough was BJ Bland. So whatever I say in the next 5 minutes takes nothing away from that.
No matter what we ended up doing, the 15 minutes that the two of you gave us was
right.
Paid it back. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was coming off a knee injury. I'd re-injured my knee, and the sad factor was something that I love doing. Is my big long runs, and I think that's been a real big help with my conditioning side of my fight game. And I was actually had that taken away from me, so I thought I'll still be fine. But so we managed to sort of sticky tape together some sort of prep and get in there. And I was in good enough shape to go to a good fight. But BJ, as you guys know, anyone that's seen BJ fight knows that they're good enough is not going to be good enough when it comes to a bloke like him. So we were able to push that pace. And I remember coming out after that second round where I thought I had him and I thought he was finished. And, when you sell out on a finish and you don't get it, that's pretty tiresome. I came out in that third round and I remember thinking to myself, I'm absolutely knackered. I've just got to show that I'm not tired, because I knew he's a little pit bull, and if he smells one essence of tired, he'll just come after you. And I just tried my hardest not to show I'm tired. But when he hit me in the face for the 400th time in the round, it was hard not to show that. So it was a great fight, and he's the sort of fighter that I'm glad to see. Once hopefully all this gone, he just got signed to the PFL, which he deserves. He deserves to fight at the highest level. He's one of those guys that, especially coming from such a sensational camp with such big names. I know the guys there. I've heard the guys there at the highest level talk about him, and he comes out of that gym with such high respect, and that should show you what sort of fighter he is. I couldn't say enough nice things about him.
Yeah, no, it was a great introduction for us to BJ as well. BJ's went on and had another couple of really good performances on Eternal. I mean, picking up his scalp at Eternal 48 of Abel Brights. That's Abel's one of these guys that on his day could probably beat anybody in Australia at that point. And he has done. That
we beat Brad Riddell.
Yeah.
And Brad Riddell's one of the best going around at the moment.
100%.
It was a strange fight, Abel and BJ, but BJ got the win, and that's all the history books will ever show.
Yeah, BJ. I look at BJ like you said. It was you could say it's a strange win, but BJ's a real workman-like fighter. You know what I mean? Like, he can grapple, he can strike, he can wrestle, he can do all that. But he's a real workman-like, where he'll take it and do the work where he needs to do the work. Yeah. If he needs to stand there and strike like he did with me in the last round, he'll do it. If he needs to ground you and grind you out on the ground, he'll do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He'd be I'm sure Eugene would give you a better explanation, but he's the perfect guy to coach, I'd imagine. Sitting in the corner for him would be a pleasure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And looking at the length of time his career has been over and how many fights he's had, the guy is, he's a proper veteran. And but thank you very much. So probably 620 fights in Eternal, and that's got to be the bloodiest one we've ever had.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take my hat off to you two boys, and just go to the Eternal YouTube channel and just have a look at that fight. Like, and both of you are wearing white shorts that were red by the end of the fight.
They wear white by the end. You've got PJs, don't you, Cam?
No, I think we just get photos of them. I think they got them back. We just took the photos.
They're slipping in pools of your own blood. Trying to lock up a submission in what looked like a part of a Saw movie. I can only imagine what you boys went through that day, and it just went to show how much it meant to you both. You were both fighting at 77 instead of 70. Which probably helped with the fight getting to where it got to, because at 70 it might not have lasted as long.
Especially with the travel. I mean, both boys, you both had considerable travel to get there. Coming from Victoria and coming from New Zealand, both of you, it wasn't just a quick flight. It's a...
Yeah, it's...
The other real cool factor about the fight, like you guys pointed out, like, that we're in WA, but that's neither our hometowns, and to have us as a main event can sometimes be a bit dangerous. And I'm sure that no one had came there to support us. But the great thing is, by the end of that fight, everyone was supporting us, which was really sensational.
No, it was brilliant, and I'm really glad that we did it. For multiple reasons. Like, one, for what it turned out to be, there's no amount of money you could pay as a promoter to have entertainment like that. I mean, it's phenomenal, and then the fact that you got the call up, which, that's a really proud moment for me as a promoter. That's what I'm in this to do. Like, if I was in it to make loads of money, I'd have retired a long time ago from promoting fights, because that doesn't happen. But what I'm in it for as a coach is to see fighters go through our promotion to the big promotions like the UFC and such, like the big show. That's what I want for our champions. Like, I feel all our champions are good enough. I said it last week. All our champions are good enough to move into the UFC and win fights. Yep. And you've proved that for us. You know, you proved that for us. So again, that was a great way for you to sort of sign off on your eternal career, I believe.
And I don't think it could have. We've recently moved to a fantastic stadium in Western Australia. HBF Stadium is, you know, it's a phenomenal venue. You know, it's world class in terms of facilities and lighting and everything that the venue's got. But for that fight, just the way that it played out, I think the atmosphere at the Italian club was perfect. You know, the low ceiling, the crowd heavily on top of the oppressive way next to the cage. You know, that fight was, it got everything. It got everything.
But it's a shame. It's a massive shame that we can't do TV lighting in the Italian club, because I've been in there on some nights, like when Jack Della's defended his title in there against Dean Abramo, two local boys, and Dean sells a lot of tickets and Jack sells a lot of tickets, and you can feel the atmosphere. Like, you can really sense. And I don't know how that translates to fighting there, because obviously I've never fought in there, but just standing cage side, sort of as close to the fight as you can be without being in it.
It's a real nice venue. I get a nice feel. I like those sort of venues. They're nice venues.
Yeah. I was in after our New Zealand card. I was at the UFC, and I know there was 8,500 people in there, because a friend of mine does the ticketing, so she let me know the attendance. At the time that I was there, obviously I hadn't got to main event yet, so I think it was a 10,000 sellout or whatever. But when Riddell won and he got in the cage afterwards, and the noise, like, we were cage side, and the noise actually moved my clothes. Like, I felt my t-shirt moving. I could not believe I'd never felt noise before. And that is, so in the Italian club, we might have 1,000 people. There was 8 times that in, or 8.5 times that in Auckland. And it must really charge you up. I've never fought in front of that many people, so I couldn't answer that question. But you fought in Melbourne twice now? Does it?
Yeah. So, and obviously the second one was still standing as the biggest crowd ever. But I was only talking about it again the other day. It's funny once things get going, because I was asking one of my coaches, does he notice more being on the outside of the cage? And he said the same thing. Once the fight gets going, because you're so solely focused on your task at hand, they all feel the same. Like, to fight in front of 50,000, everyone keeps asking me about it. And I said, I wouldn't have known. Once the fight's going, I wouldn't know if there was 50,000 or 5 people in there. So it's really strange. It's, you know, you like to think at some stage you might be able to settle and take it all in, but when there's a big Polynesian trying to punch you in the head, it's hard to do that. So you sort of settle and just go into your rhythm.
Yeah. So just while we're on it, then just talk to us a little bit about your time in the UFC thus far. Obviously, the first one's a dream come true. Like, in front of your hometown fans, like the weigh-ins, you got your kids there. Was that the one you brought your kids to? I mean, it must have been amazing. You've paid your dues. You know, you're one of the guys that really, really deserves to be there for me. Like, you've done it the hard way, you know, from start to finish. Just fighting anyone, anywhere, anytime, any place. So to get there must have been so satisfying.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the one I did the open workout with Maddie, my oldest daughter, which was sensational. A lot of great experiences in that, and I got a lot of comments, just like you said there, which was extremely humbling to be, you know, not just to be seen as, you know, a UFC fighter, but someone that's really, you know, maybe a bit of a blue-collared fighter that's really worked his way there. It was really nice to hear those sort of things, and it was great to get there. Obviously, not the result. There was a lot of external factors that came in, but as I keep pointing out, and I talked about BJ before, the main factor was Jalen that night. Jalen did his job, and it wasn't great, but you know, it got our foot in the door. That was the big thing, and led us into to now, you know, moving on to Marvel Stadium and getting a huge win there against a super tough opponent in front of the biggest crowd ever to come to a UFC. That's a memory that, or, you know, something you'll never forget. You know what I mean? To say that I've got my name attached to that is extremely humbling.
There was I'm trying to remember now. What was your walkout tune for that? Your walkout tune for that event?
For Marvel?
Yeah, it seemed to grab a lot of headlines.
Yeah, we came out to. So it might not resonate as much with you boys as I came out to a tune called Up There Kazali, which
Right.
anyone that follows AFL, they'll know that tune extremely well. And everyone thought I solely did it because of, we were in Melbourne, but I actually did it because I explained to a couple of people there that I've had dreams of competing at Marvel Stadium my whole life. I was a very avid Aussie rules footballer and did quite well, made the VFL and I thought, it's funny to be competing here in a completely different sport, but I thought to come out to that song, as much as I love the song, is it's a bit of a marriage between my Aussie rules career and my MMA career, which is really funny because with my Aussie rules career, as I explained to the media afterwards, now I was a lot more naturally talented. You know what I mean? I was a young kid coming through Aussie rules, and I probably didn't put in, not probably, I definitely didn't put in the effort that I needed to make the upper levels, but I still did quite well because I was quite naturally talented. And to go into my MMA career is a complete 180. I'm nowhere near as naturally talented in mixed martial arts as I was in football, but I worked my ass off 100 times more than I did in football. So it was a real sigh of relief to know that I can make the upper echelon of a sport, the highest level of the sport, because I missed out in the Aussie rules, but I got to do it in the mixed martial arts. So that was a huge sigh of relief for me.
It shows you how much hard work pays off.
Oh, spot on. So whatever you could have 100 quotes about talent. Talent rests when I don't know. I can't remember any of them, but they're all right. You know what I mean? Nothing beats hard work. Just putting your nose down and putting in the hard work. Nothing beats that.
I think hard work beats talent when talent refuses to work hard.
That's the one.
I have seen so many examples of that come through. And you probably have too, being in a gym. Like, how many talented young kids, if you could just get them to put the work in, but the fact that they're talented ruins that because they've never had to work hard for anything before. They just don't have that work ethic. And it's when you mingle the talent and the work ethic together, that's when you create something truly spectacular.
Now, I'm completely going out on a limb here because I haven't spent anywhere near as much time with him as you, or very much at all. But I could imagine that if you maybe talked about Jack Dalla's career, that might be a similar thing. Like, you look at his early career, and he had a couple of early losses, and maybe a lot of people at that stage may have turned mixed martial arts around and said, no, yeah, maybe not for me. But he seems like the type of guy that maybe said, you know what, I'm going to knuckle down and really make the most of this. And you look where he is now. I think he's as good as anyone at that weight in the country easily. So is that something how you describe his sort of career?
Yeah, the two losses for Jack were just the fact that he was an 18-year-old and he fought two animals, like he fought Alden Bates, who was late 20s, strong, big, scary dude. And Jack put it on him for the first part of the fight and then gassed, and then Alden stuck with it, to be fair to him. And mounted him in the last round, and Jack couldn't get out, and Alden justly and deservedly won that fight. And then with the Darcy Vendy fight, again, another really accomplished fighter, and a little bit of an experience from Jack. That fight haunts me. I wasn't there in Jack's corner, and I feel like if I was in Jack's corner, it might not have gone that way, because there was a couple of decisions made in the heat of the moment that I might have changed and told him. Basically, he tried to get up too quickly off the ground and left his neck exposed. And when you leave your neck exposed with Darcy Vendy, you're going to get choked out. Simple as that. Whereas Darcy wasn't doing anything with that position, and he could have just stayed there, relaxed, and took a bit of time. So yeah, that one really hurts me. But again, Jack bounced back. He is the hardest working guy in the gym, and he's talented. So when you mix that two together, I'll go in on a Saturday morning to teach a class, and he's already been there for 2 hours kicking the bag on his own. By himself.
He comes across to me as that sort of guy. Like, I've never seen him train. I've done one session with him, and he's a lovely guy and extremely humble. But just from the outlook, just reading it, looking at his record, looking at the way he fights, he seems to me like he'd be that sort of guy. He'd be the guy that's doing 20 rounds when you're only supposed to do 10, and then probably mopping the mats afterwards.
Yeah, he is. In truth, all my guys are like that.
Oh, that's awesome. That's good, Jim.
Because he inspires everybody to be like that. Everyone looks up to him, and the guys that are at the top of the tree, and they're all like that. So yeah, once you get a group of people like that are working together in a common goal, sometimes in gyms you have the top guys and they're kind of in competition with each other. Whereas I feel like my guys would prefer their mates to win and them lose. Like, that's how I feel. Maybe that's not entirely true, but that's the vibe I get. And if it's not true, they hide it really well. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I think that's how they're all doing so well together, because they look after each other and they deeply care about each other's careers. And in the gym, when they train together, that pans out. So yeah, it is a lucky spot for me to be in. That's for sure. But yeah, that fight in Melbourne for you, me and Cam both were there, because obviously we'd had the show the night before, and yeah, to see you get that win, and what a cracking fight too. Bombs getting thrown left, right, and centre, and action-packed fight.
I don't purposely fight like that. So just so people know, I don't go there going, do you know what? I'm going to wear 16, and then when he gets tired, I might take it. I don't purposely do that. My defense is just probably not the strongest point in my game, sadly.
Yeah, no, I figured that wouldn't be part of your technical game plan. Work on before the fights. So yeah, to see you achieve your goal and win a fight in the UFC in front of all your hometown fans was pretty cool for me. And you know, Cam and I enjoyed that fight particularly.
That whole day was an excellent day, though. You know, it really was. The whole weekend was an excellent weekend. You know, we had a very successful inaugural Melbourne show. We really enjoyed the night, the card that we put on, the venue. We enjoyed the next day at the UFC. It was just a really good, and obviously yourself and so many other people that we've got interests in had wins as well. So it was just a really good weekend for Australian MMA and for us as well.
Yeah, that was a great weekend. You guys had a great show. You know what I mean? Mitchie Martin fight was a sensational fight. We were watching in the room the night before, and that was a cracker fight.
Mitch Martin, another one of Ben's boys, I just don't know what you've got to do to stop him. Personally, I don't know.
You have to remove him from his consciousness.
But you have to remove him from the planet, I reckon, to stop that bloke. I got to stop now, because I could go on about how much I love the MMA clinic boys for about 2 hours. I reckon I love those boys out there. They're rippers.
Oh, thanks, mate. Scrappy MMA now. The MMA clinic.
Scrappy MMA, my bad. My bad. You have to send me a new singlet then, mate. I've still got the MMA clinic singlet. You have to send me a new singlet.
I've just got all new gear sort of coming in. Like, while we've been sort of on this downtime, I spent a bit of time in the gym sort of renovating and tidying up. I had it 9 years, unbelievably. And the amount of shit that gathers up over there over the years. So we've been digging it out. The con of having a massive gym is that there's heaps of places to stash shit that you don't need. So there's been a couple of skips emptied, and we've done up the place and ordered some new stock, and yeah, it's looking good. So hopefully sooner rather than later, we can get back in there and show everyone what we've done.
Will you guys give me 2 seconds, please?
Oh, he's gone, fully gone black, gone dark on us. Yeah, I don't think it would be unfair to say that Callan is one of the nicest men in Australian MMA, and the fact that he's achieved what he's achieved is a real shot in the arm for the hard-working man, I think.
An experienced and accomplished eternal presenter and commentator, as well as fighter.
Yeah, there you go. And corner man. I mean, how many fighters has Callan put through Eternal? He's very much a part of the Eternal tapestry. And you know, we look forward to having him on some of our broadcasts next year. He's a very, very intuitive and insightful voice to have beside the octagon, talking you guys through it. So we're definitely looking to see Callan. If we can't have him in our cage, then we need him round about it somewhere doing something. So let's do our picks, Cam, while Callan's disappeared. Well, let's go just on the top 4 fights. So
top 4 or top? Let's do top 5 or top 4.
All right, you go on then. So here we go. Perfect.
Justin back in time for the controversy.
Okay, so we're going to do the picks now.
Oh, the picks, beautiful.
Yeah. So Gaethje, Ferguson.
Top 5.
Ferguson.
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
So, starting at the top, going down, or starting from the bottom?
Start at the top. Start with the cream of the crop, and let's drop down.
Gaethje.
They're all pretty cream of the crop. You're going Gaethje, yeah?
Yeah.
And you're on Gaethje, Ben?
Yeah,
I'm El Kukui all day.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go with Ferguson too. It's one of those fights. But everyone thinks, like a lot of the high level guys, a lot of the city kickboxing guys are backing Gaethje to sleep in. But he has been rocked a lot. But has he ever been knocked out?
Yeah, but he takes so much damage, and I don't think he's ever been hit by anybody by Gaethje. Ferguson,
Gaethje's he's a different beast too.
Yeah, Ferguson's game has the pressure that he can put on you while taking the damage as breaks you. I don't think he'll be able to continue consciously. Gaethje catches him in the bottom of that chin.
Yeah, that's a fair point, but I'm still going to go with Ferguson. I'm a huge Ferguson fan.
Ferguson's still got to get to the fight, though. You know, anything can happen in the next 13 hours.
I think Dana's wrapped him in bubble wrap since he arrived.
Yeah, exactly right.
All right, Cruz and Cejudo.
Well, I'm going to pick this one off my heart, not off my head, and I'll say Cruz.
I'm going.
I love Cruz too, but it's a long time out of the game with coming against a super high level athlete. And I'd sadly have to say I think Cejudo. I don't think he'll be able to finish him. I think Dom's going to be in good enough shape to go the distance, but I think Cejudo might be able to just push a pace. And the decision.
I definitely want Cruz to win, but I just think Cejudo's going to win.
Cruz.
So Cam's against the grain so far. We can see where his money's going tomorrow on the underdogs. Who's the next fight on the card?
That's why I don't bet anymore.
Is it Ngannou and Rosenstruck?
Ngannou and Rosenstruck.
That. I can't see past Francis on that one. I'm going Ngannou.
Yeah, I'll go Ngannou.
Opposite Cam, come on. You're either going to have a massive lead or you're going to be really far behind as we start.
Rosenstruck.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like where you're going, Cam. I'll say it right now, I saw him in Vegas and I was there with Dan Kelly when Dan was fighting there. Ngannou is the biggest man I've ever seen in my life. Oh, just a monster of a man. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so you and Ngannou, the team, we're matching up so far. Who's next? Is it Pettis?
Stevens. Well, Heathen.
Oh, now that's difficult. He missed weight by a big amount, 4.5.
I haven't seen the weigh-ins, did he?
He missed 4.5 pounds. He missed by Jeremy Stevens. So it throws it into a little bit of a thing for me. I rate that Calvin Qatar really.
Yeah.
Very boxing. Like if I went with my heart again, I'd go Jeremy Stevens. I had a night after Jeremy Stevens starched Marcus Davis. I had a night on the pistol in Vegas. Oh, dad life.
Yeah, little one stuck to thing. I'm the same as you. I'm a big rap for that Calvin Qatar. I love Jeremy Stevens too, but I think Qatar's boxing is just a little bit too crisp.
Too sharp. I'm Qatar, but again, my heart would be with Jeremy Stevens. And then who's last for Cowboy and Pettis?
Well, the next one's meant to be Hardy and De Castro, but let's skip that. Let's do Pettis and Cowboy, and I'll go Pettis.
Yeah, I have to go Pettis on this one too. I hate to say it because Cowboy's probably my favourite. But I just think he might be done.
I'll give you a little insight. Well, I'm going to go Cowboy, and I'll tell you why. Very even matchup. Either of them could win on either day. But I think what's going to help Cowboy in this is how much chat have you heard about this fight?
Yeah, none.
So it's a real low level fight. There's not a lot of pressure. There's not a lot of fanfare. Not a lot of spotlight. I think that's how Cowboy likes to roll. Yeah, and I think he'll be super comfortable.
Aren't they? They both got beat in their last outing.
Yeah. So I think Cowboy might get him.
I'm going Pettis on this one.
Two Pettis and one Cowboy. My picks are never known to be too intelligent. They're always done via the heart. If BJ Penn was fighting Cejudo tomorrow, I would be picking him. So that tells you how educated my picks are. They're very emotive. But no, I'm going Gaethje, Cruz, Rosenstruck, Stevens, Pettis.
Okay, I'm going Ferguson, Cejudo, Ngannou,
Qatar,
Pettis.
Yeah.
So I've got the same as you, Ben, except I've got the switch on the Cowboy.
Cowboy. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, we'll see how we go tomorrow. And then, so I guess we'll finish up with our questions.
Done.
So I've got to find them now. Technology again. I think I know the answer. So I'll ask the first question, then Cam will ask one, and just rattle off the answer as quick fire if possible.
Quick fire, done.
Callan's already answered the first question.
I know, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Just looking at the clock, because our producer, he gets a bit upset if I go wrong. So let's go. We'll start now. AFL or rugby?
AFL.
Tits or ass?
Oh, what was that one?
Tits or ass?
Oh my God.
You don't have to answer that question. Blonde or brunette?
Brunette.
KO or submission?
Submission.
Steak or salad?
What salad?
Steak or salad?
Oh, steak.
Dog or cat?
God, dog. I hate cats.
Restaurant or pub?
5-round war or 5-second KO?
Heart or brain? Heart says 5 hour war. Go the war.
All right, last one. Cardio or weights?
Cardio. I've been lifting heavy weights in the thing, and I hate it. I just want to run.
Well, look.
Yeah.
Hey. How you doing, superstar? All right, Callan, we've taken up far too much of your time. I mean, as always, we could talk all day. But,
oh, absolutely. Been awesome to do, guys. Obviously, I'm not getting a lot of social interaction these days. This was sensational to see and chat with a couple of sensational units like yourselves.
Oh, there you go. So just lastly, to sum it up, tell everyone how good we are. No. Please, if you want to thank anyone or shout anyone out, I know that your main man down at Renegade does a lot for you. So I don't know if you want to give a shout out to the boys at the gym and Jamie. And anyway, the floor's over to you. If you want to close this out.
Yeah, look, obviously a huge thank you. Just some basic sponsors like the Fight Store in Melbourne have always been a great sponsor. We looked after me. Hyperfly, Jordan down there has been sensational. Thank you very much. The Fight Dietitian, Combat Dietitian, always looked after me. Got me on weight, never miss weight. They're the guys you want to check out. And my main corner, obviously, Jamie Murray at Renegade MMA, who's been my head coach for every belt that I've ever received for Jiu-Jitsu. Andy Colgrave at the Ring Gym in Footscray. He always looks after me, and he's taken me to a new level. And obviously, the big dad Dan Kelly. If you don't know him, you've been living under a rock for too long. So thank you to that guy always. He's not only taking me to a next level of fighting, but probably the next level of life. So that's the only compliment I'll give him for the next month.
Yeah, Jamie and Andy fly under the radar. Like Jack was talking about Andy, and I'm starting to see Andy pop up everywhere. There's someone from Melbourne fighting. Andy's involved in some way, shape, or form. So he's obviously someone to get amongst if you're down there for the striking side of things. I'm sure he's well-rounded in everything that he does, but MMA striking, Colgrave's name keeps cropping up. So I'll be stalking his social media to see if I can pick up any hints or tips.
And Jamie's been a great friend to the promotion over the years, and always goes out to us and wishes as well, and offers any level of support that he can. So no, you've got a good team round about you.
That's something again, like we've talked about, the memories. That's something that will go down in my martial arts catalogue. The fact that I've received every belt in jiu-jitsu from the same instructor at the same gym is something I really hang my hat on. So I'm very happy to be able to say I've done that.
Yeah, good on you.
That's phenomenal. All right, Cal, thanks as always for your time. It's been a pleasure, absolute pleasure. Hopefully, we'll see you in person, either cage side commentating on Eternal, or we'll see you back in the UFC cage again when all that stuff gets up and running. But yeah, enjoy the UFC, enjoy Mother's Day, enjoy your family, and thank you very much for your time.
Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you guys on the other side.